One day I was walking down the streets of Shenzhen, and I saw at that time the iPad was just released. I was comparing the prices of the iPad cases in Chicago and in China. I was like, in China, it was selling for like, 15 RMB. Yeah, it was really, really cheap. In the US, it was like 90 over US dollars. So I was like, okay, maybe I can do a patent for the iPad case, get it produced in China, and then get it delivered to the US to sell.
What is up, guys? My name is Charles Liew. Welcome to Biz Chat with Charles Liew, where I talk to real business people about real business stuff. But hey, why so serious? In this episode, we talk about opportunities, how to see them and when to seize them. And I have a special guest today. His name is Melvin Ong. He's the CEO of Karuna. Okay. Now, could you share with us your life before you started your own business, before you started Karuna?
I was studying in Chicago under JP scholarship. I was an electrical and computer engineer.
What happened after you graduated?
I started working for a printed circuit board manufacturing company.
During your studies or after?
After my studies, I was recruited immediately. The second work experience that I had was actually with a company called O2 Cool. This company was very interesting because they manufactured fans. So I oversee a lot of production in China.
Oversee how, like from the United States, or did you have to fly to China?
I had to fly in there every few months, and I stayed in China for, I think, accumulatively for more than 6 months.
Why?
We had to set up our China engineering office, and that was actually my primary role.
Okay.
We had to recruit Chinese engineers to do the research and development, as well as overseeing the factories that are based in China.
Was it hard for you to actually go there at such a young age and then trying to recruit people?
No, we actually had HR that did the recruitment, but what I needed to do was sort of to qualify their skills.
Got it. So this was a bigger company.
It was a much bigger company, yes.
And how long were you with this company?
With the company for about two and a half years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So before I joined another company,
Now, I'm going to ask you about the third company later, but why keep jumping?
I think primarily because I was sort of interested in learning new things, and I got exhausted because in the US, we work really hard. The work culture in the US is like much more fast-paced compared to even Malaysia.
Okay, now the third company. Tell me more about the third company.
So the third company was it's an injection molding company.
Did you enjoy that?
Not really. This was with the company for about a year. But I did my work. I managed to create the software. I handed it over before I left.
Okay.
And I think the reason I left is not because I did not want to work for that company anymore. It's actually because of the success of my online business. Yeah. So that.
More on that later. Okay. So what happened after the third one?
So. Intermediary phase between the second and the third company, I started my own business. I've always had a side business since I was in college, and it was from web development, web design. And when I started my first business, it was actually with my business partner from India. So we developed websites for the city of Chicago. And also customers from the city of Chicago. And eventually, I got very busy with my second work, at O2 Cool. So that's when I kind of put that business on hold. And then when I was in China, one day I was walking down the streets of Shenzhen. And I saw at that time the iPad was just released.
Opportunity, guys, listen.
iPad 1 was just released. And I was comparing the prices of the iPad cases in Chicago and in China. I was like, in China, it was selling for like, 15 RMB. 15 RMB at that point in time was almost 7 ringgit. Yeah, it was really, really cheap. In the US, it was like 90 over US dollars. So I was like, okay, maybe I can do a patent for the iPad case, get it produced in China, and then get it delivered to the US to sell. And that was exactly what I did. So I patented, because when I was at O2 Cool, I did a lot of design patents.
So you got a US patent.
I got a US patent on under the name of my mom, because at that point in time, I wasn't supposed to be doing anything engineering outside of work. So yeah, there was a non-disclosure, non-compete agreement.
Sure.
So I did it under my mom's name, and I got a design patent.
Yeah.
So the next phase, the next product that we created was the power bank.
Did you create the power bank?
Yeah. So because I was an electrical engineer before, so I basically fabricated my own board, and we got an MFI certification for it.
Yeah.
So we were basically producing power banks for like 1/4. We were selling it for 1/4 the cost of what others are selling.
Brilliant. Okay. I mean, I think what the viewers can get from this is everything that you have done in your life. You learn something from it, and because you are very aware of opportunities, because of that background, right? You got curious. When something piqued your interest, you go, I can do that, and I can do this, and I can match them together. Brilliant. So after the third business, did you just quit employment? This whole employment game?
That's right. That's after that business, I sort of quit, and then we were selling 100,000 units of power banks a month.
Whoa.
No, in the end, what we did was during that summer when I came back to Kuching, we decided to kind of sort of shift that business back to Malaysia in terms of its operation, because at that point in time, while I was working, I had set up an office in Chicago and we hired 10 employees there.
Sure.
So I thought, why don't we close down the US business, bring that business model back here, and if anyone wants to purchase, they can still purchase from you, right? I mean, and you can have a logistics company in the US. So that was exactly why we did.
I think because you are largely online based or almost entirely online based, it's easy for you to move that office, right?
That's correct.
It's easier. It's not easy, but easier as compared to.
And also at the same time, the fat for power banks, it was declining. Yeah, because there's a saturation in the market, and then the product life cycle was coming to an end.
Yeah.
And the pricing was getting even more competitive.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So then we decided, maybe it's the right time to exit. That was actually when I decided I had enough of the US. It was 11 and a half years. Summer, winter, the 4 seasons, having to change your clothes every 3 months. Yeah, and I decided to come back.
I'm thinking about the power bank business, because there's this brand on Amazon called Brexling. Have you heard of Brexling before?
No, it's probably a new brand.
Yeah, okay. But then it's owned by my friend. It's one of the number 1 now in the world when it comes to these kind of things. But then he was telling me the margins were so low. It's so low that he decided to leave New York, and he's now back in Chengdu in China and just doing something entirely different.
I usually qualify businesses based on the profit margin. So the point when the profit margin comes to a bare minimum, that's when I call it, okay, next business venture.
So you're entirely about the pursuit of money.
Not really. It's first the pursuit of interest, but second, kind of weighing whether or not that interest can sustain the business.
Sure.
But if it's not becoming sustainable, we need to switch our business model.
So why did you start your own business?
When I came back to Malaysia, there weren't a lot of opportunities, to be honest. Like, my salary in the US was so high that I think that any company in Kuching would not be able to afford me. So then what happened was, if there is no opportunity, you need to create that opportunity.
Okay, I guess that's all for this segment. Guys, we'll be right back after the break. And we're back, and we're still in Biz Chat with Charles Liew, and we're still with Melvin Ong, the CEO of Karuna. Melvin, what qualities do you think are important to start a business?
I think being resilient and being innovative is important to start a business.
Explain resilience?
Meaning, don't give up. You have to be stubborn.
Can I ask you this?
To start a business.
Would there be time when you need to consider whether to give up or not?
There is a time when you need to consider, but only after looking at the figures, the facts and figures.
Sure. Okay.
But also depending on your the amount of investments that you have for your business. Most startups do not have much money.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some people start up with like 200 ringgit, 300 ringgit. So it really depends on your ability to hold on as well.
Sure.
And the future trends of the business, the market trends.
Okay. And what's the other quality?
That's the first is resilience. The second is being innovative.
Sure.
So you need to be able to identify problems that the community is facing and ways to solve it. Because you're only in business because you're resolving someone's issues, right? So, yeah, and you need to have a unique selling point.
Any other qualities you want to add before we move on to the next question?
I would say the third is probably leadership, but this comes later during the later phase of your business.
So you think leadership is a like when you say later phase, not in the early phase? Why?
Because most people will start up their business on their own. Yeah, so you are like a one-man show until everything kicks off, and then you recruit more people, and then you have more, more people to lead.
So you would be, as a leader, you would be hiring people for things that you can't do, or you think other people have the expertise more than you.
Yes, always hire people who are smarter than you, and also try to free up yourself so you're able to manage the company.
Sure. I think I've reminded viewers many times. I think one of the best quotes that I've heard from Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, was that your role as a leader is not to make 1,000 decisions a day. It's to be freed up to make that 6 decisions that are crucial with clarity of mind. So if you are forced to make little decisions all the way, you wouldn't have the clarity in your mind to make those really important decisions. Brilliant. Okay, now next question. What qualities do you think are essential to sustain a business? It's easy to start, but how about to sustain? I know we mentioned about leadership, right? What else?
I guess being pragmatic, it's one of the most important qualities of sustaining a business.
What's pragmatism?
You need to be, how would I say that? You need to look at things realistically.
So look at things as they are.
As they are.
Could you give me an example of that?
If times are changing, like for example, right now, don't resist going digital.
Sure.
Yeah, because that could be your downfall. Yes. So you kind of need to look at market trends. I mean, a business will only survive if you are realistic to the expectations of your customers.
Sure.
So that's why the market trend is really important.
Okay. What other qualities do you think?
I would say being sensitive because you need to understand your employees as well as your customers.
Yeah.
Most of the time, businesses get pretty after the first 5 years, after the first 10 years, and they were like, okay, regardless of whether or not you come or not, we are still here. But I think every single customer is important regardless of how small they are. So that's actually the philosophy that, Karuna has even today as well.
Okay. Like, I think one of the terms that a lot of the books and biographies that I've read, they use the word paranoia. So, and it's very similar to the word sensitivity. It's like you're always paranoid. You're always like, what are my customers saying now? What do they want? And what are my competitors doing as well? What's the market doing? And what I've learned is that once you lose that paranoia, once you lose that sensitivity, you lose your soul because you are no longer relevant to the people you're serving.
That's actually one of the problems because usually when the founder leaves the business, that's when the business collapses because the sensitivity is gone.
When Steve Jobs left Apple and then went back, I think that's a...
I think that was the turning point which kind of revived it to its next level.
Yeah. And he went away to start Pixar. Pixar was doing fantastic, and then he got recruited back to his own company.
Yeah, I think sensitivity kind of evolves into company culture as well in a sense. So if the company culture is not strong enough, it's kind of hard to keep the soul or an essence of the company alive.
Yep. So your ability to sustain even a good working culture within your company is also paramount in you actually driving your company, going forward, right?
Yeah, because everybody is important in the development of the company.
For sure. So what do you actually do with people who don't fit your culture? I'm pretty sure you have stumbled upon.
Throughout the last 10 years, I can count with the number of my fingers how many people we have fired. I think we have fired less than 10 employees.
When you say fired, means what? Like asked to leave?
Asked to leave during the probation period because they were not the right fit to the company.
What's not being the right fit?
I guess not being able to perform their task properly, not being proactive. I think proactive is very important.
So crucial.
Yeah, because I really hate being a nanny. You know, and you know, if I hire you and if I have to sit there and monitor what you do, then I might as well do it myself, right?
Absolutely. Because if they're not proactive, then you become their assistants because you keep reminding them, have you done that? Have you done that? Have you done that? The deadline is tomorrow. Have you done that? You might as well just do it yourself.
I think the other important thing is also to ensure that you have good business partners, you know, people who think alike.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's actually one of the reasons why most businesses fail, because they're not able to find people who think like them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think the visions and the directions, if they are not the same, but they are also decision makers of the company, for example, that becomes difficult.
That's right. And the planning is also important. So that's the next quality for sustaining the business. You need to plan. Half the time when I ask businesses, they will tell me, I don't have a business plan. And I'm like, how do you run your business?
It's like there's this book from Patrick Bet-David, very, very, like, I think he has got about 3 million subscribers on YouTube. His book that just got released last year was called Your Next 15 Moves. And so it's about planning 15 moves ahead, because it's like business is a game of chess, and you will need to to know your 15 moves. You will actually need to know what the other person is going to is going to do, and so that's part of your planning as well going forward.
It's a good idea.
All right, thank you so much for that. We'll go to a break and we'll be back with our final segment very shortly. Stay with us. And we're back, and we're still with Melvin Ong, and you're still watching Biz Chat with Charles Liew. Now, final segment, I'm gonna ask Mel, because I got to know Melvin when he came to me 6 years ago, and he had this idea, really brilliant, because it was proven with time that it was a brilliant idea. He started this company called Mimigo, and Mimigo was a delivery, online purchasing of groceries and things like that, and you would deliver to people's homes, right? Way before Grab, Food Panda, and all of these, and the others, right? So, why did you start that business?
I started this business because I kind of saw the lifestyle changing in KL as well as in Malaysia as a whole. There were more younger workforce, working adults, and they had the money to spend, and they are opting for convenience. So they love to yamcha, but they don't like to do groceries. Yes. So that's when I thought maybe it's the right time to launch it. And it actually was. We were making money, but it's just that the initial infrastructure cost was costly, but it was quite okay for us because we were an IT company. So we had the in-house resources. But it was actually the delivery, the logistics portion, which was the most challenging for us. Back then, the gig economy was still not popular. People looked down on other people who were delivering things. So the only people that we could get was actually our own office boy. And office boys are not meant to deliver fresh items because they don't really know where to go. So the food, so we had a lot of logistics issues. The food would go bad, customers complaining. But overall, it was making money. The time when we decided to close down the bank account, we had quite a substantial leftover.
Okay. Like, what made you walk away? Like, you had an alternative that performed better and you just went there?
Because Karuna at that point in time was an investor for this particular business. So I had business partners. So in essence, it turned out that I guess the partnership didn't quite work out because the investor actually had to put in a lot of work to get it going. So then we thought that it was sort of a limit on our resources. So that's why moving forward, if we were to do it again, we're actually looking for people who are more passionate in the business, who is able to drive it.
Thank you so much for that. Final words to our viewers, okay? So could you share the best advice or the best lesson that you have ever gotten as an entrepreneur? Because you started out not being one, but you have the entrepreneurial spirit. That's why midway through your employment life, you started your own business already, right? So what was the best advice anyone has given you or the best lesson you have learned?
Okay, so one of my business partner, his name is John. All right, so he has
Where? Here in Malaysia?
yeah, here in Malaysia. So at that point in time when the business was going quite well, I used to stop working after 5. I'm like, okay, now it's my chill time. And so he told me that, you know, business never stops. You work past 5, and then then you try to finish your work that you're unable to complete, you know, during the day. Yeah. And that was actually what took our business to the next level. And I think that's really important. I think being persistent, working overtime, you know, trying to make a difference. I think, you know, that's what makes your business successful.
Work harder.
Work harder.
Basically, right?
Yeah. Don't look back. Yeah. Karuna has never really compared ourselves with any digital agencies out there. We just you know, rush forward.
I love that. You know why? Because of all of the people I've interviewed, right? And most of them, a lot of people would perceive as the best in the industry, the pioneer and things like that. But the truth is, we never compare. You know, we never see competitors as really competitors. We just go our own direction, right? So I thought that was brilliant.
You need to know the market trend.
Yeah. Okay. Now, thank you so much for that, right? So guys, that's a wrap. The truth is this, with everything that you do in your life, right? You could be an employee now. It doesn't really matter. Life is a process, it's a journey, right? So you learn every step of the way. Opportunities actually are all around. You know, Melvin can be standing in front of me now. He might have spotted certain things that just go, I can actually do that and make it into an online thing right now. And then he's going to leave here and then he's going to start that. Because opportunities are literally all around us, right? So it's for you to see them, to acknowledge that they're all around you, and then choose the ones that you want to seize. But it takes knowledge, it takes experience, it takes hunger, it takes passion, it takes interest, right? All throughout our series, you know, this Biz Chat with Charles Liew, you will know that from all of the entrepreneurs that we have on the show, you will acknowledge the fact that no one compares themselves to other entrepreneurs. They all have their own path that they carve out and follow. So carve your own path, right? Look at opportunities as they are, not as they, but sometimes you got to look at them as they could be as well, right? Something as they could be and then scale towards that, right? So thank you so much, guys, for watching Biz Chat with Charles Liew. It is bye from us for now. Ciao.